morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to talk about the Stella Crown pre-release promos, and oh my word, they kind of waited to give us these, didn't they? Now, it turns out the pre-releases start this coming Saturday, the 31st, and it's nice that we're getting them, don't get me wrong, but they sure did make us wait a little bit here now, didn't they? Of course, pre-releases are this coming weekend, the 31st of August, 1st of September, and the following weekend, the 7th and 8th of September, before Stella Crown releases properly on Friday, the 13th of September. And look, I've been pretty clear about the fact I'm excited about Stella Crown. It's bringing in the Stella Terra Pokemon for the first time, which I think is a pretty big deal, frankly. And I just think it's going to be a cool set. And I'm excited for it. And I'm excited for pre-releases. And I've got a very exciting pre-release booked. I'll tell you more about it on Friday. So, come back to the channel then. Maybe we chat about it. But I wanted to know what the pre-release promos were. And they finally went and told us. I'm going to tell you now, straight off the bat. It is really awkward to rank these. Generally speaking, well, not generally, I always rank these every single time. Yeah, I'm going to rank them, but it's a little bit awkward. And I think in at number 4, I'm going to have to put Ledian, which is sad because it means this is definitely the one I will now get from my build and battle kit. But Ledian, look, the attack's garbage. 2 energy, 70, not affected by weakness or resistance or any effects. Nah, mate, okay, fine. To be fair, 2 colourless energy, and if your opponent's blocking you, this will go through anything. That is actually quite nice. But mostly here, it's the ability Glittering Star Pattern. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has 90 HP or less remaining to the active spot. Oh, that's kind of cool. It's really nice, but it doesn't work for everything. Like, if your opponent is using Manaphy, for instance, to protect their bench, this is cool and will mean you can get their Manaphy. You'll get support Pokemon, you'll get evolving Pokemon. Now, in the early game, when your opponent hasn't yet had chance to evolve, let's say you go first and get this going turn 2, so your opponent hasn't had a turn to evolve, and they've, say, got 1 Charmander on the bench, then yeah, this can actually be really good. But a lot of the time, it's not going to be able to get the target you want, and it's going to remain awkward. Great card for picking off evolving Pokemon, support Pokemon, half damage Pokemon, and all of that. But let's be honest, a lot of the time, you're not going to be able to get what you want with this, and it's a stage 1 that's going to take up a bit of room in your deck. That's a problem for me. Now, I'm showing you this compared to the regular artwork, but let's not forget there is a Hyaganosuke illustration rare of this Ledian, which is available as well. And it's going to be awesome. And that's part of the reason I feel comfortable putting this in down at number 4, because honestly, for me, I want the Hyaganosuke illustration rare here. That's my goal, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm after. Now, afterwards, 2 and 3, you really can switch them around anywhere you like. I'm going to go ahead and... oh, it's so awkward. I'm going to give it to Drifloon, but seriously, it's very, 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 very close. Now, Drifblim here, single energy, 50 damage for each of your Drifloon and Drifblim in play, and then it does 30 damage to each of your Drifloon and Drifblim. Really cool attack. Get 3 Drifloon on your bench, 1 Drifblim in the active, 200 damage for a single energy. And yes, we do have 70 HP Drifloon here, so that you can do this attack twice without KOing them. It's just, and the one with Balloon Blast, obviously is the one you want to go for, because if you hit it twice here, then it goes and does 180 for 2 energy. So Drifloon, definitely the option. I'm showing you the one from Paldean Fates because it's shiny and I like it. But the point I'm making here is, this has a lot of potential as a low energy attacker. And as a side note, in pre-releases, this is ridiculous. Like, genuinely ridiculous. If you, and bearing in mind, like, these are going to be the pre-release decks, right? if you start Drifblim, or, get Drifblim out turn 2 off a Drifloon start, and find like 1 or 2 other Drifloon, you will be winning basically every game. Like, genuinely, if you're turn 2, turn 3 hitting 100, 150, in a pre-release, you're going to win before your opponent sets up. If you have a decent start playing Drifblim, you will wreck your pre-release. And bearing in mind, we're talking about a stage 1, a single energy, and a couple of bench Pokemon. Depending on what trainer cards you get in your pre-release pack and in your packs themselves, this could actually genuinely work. And certainly, I'm looking at this as, oh yeah, no, this is absurd. In a pre-release specifically, this one looks absolutely dumb. Now, very close, but I'm putting it in at number 2. We've got Crabominable. I love Crabominable. I'm a huge fan of this Crabominable. I think it's brilliant. And what it does, for 5 energy, 250 damage, can't use the attack next turn, not great. But it's reduced by 1 for each Kofu in your discard pile. Now, in Standard, this should be fairly easy to get these in there before too long. Single energy 250. It's not necessarily the perfect number, but it's a good amount of damage for a single energy. Specifically in pre-releases, I do worry a little bit that this might be a little bit awkward, honestly. I do worry that this might be slightly annoying to actually get rolling, to get all of what you need in the discard, to be hitting this well enough. But I still think 250 for a single energy is so enticing. I love it. You could easily swap this and Drifblim around and I wouldn't be angry at you. I think in pre-releases specifically, Drifblim is going to be better. But I think in Standard, Crabominable has a bit more potential. They're both very tantalizing cards that might end up being too awkward, but I do love them. Oh, and do remember, Crabominable also has an illustration rare by Mitsuhiro Arita, which is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, it's not my chase card. The Ledian is my chase card. The Hyganasuke art, way too good for me. But make no mistake about it, this is a phenomenal piece of artwork. And I know a lot of you are going to be looking at this and being like, oh yeah, no, man, that's awesome. I really like this. And you should really like this. This is an awesome looking card. So, yeah, you have been warned. This is beautiful. So what does that leave at number 1? Bouffalant. I think Ledian at number 4, because the ability is very specific, is pretty easy. And I think Bouffalant at number 1 is also pretty easy. And the reason is, like, Stella Miracle, the Japanese set, has been out in Japan for a little while now. So we've got a chance to really see what's seeing play and what isn't. Bouffalant is just a staple in a bunch of decks. Basically, any colourless deck right now is playing Bouffalant. And they should be, incidentally. You should be playing a pair of Bouffalant. The ability, the attack's terrible for the record, but the ability Curly Wall says, as long as you've got one other Bouffalant in play, all of your basic colourless Pokemon take 60 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So, and you can't do more than one at once. So you get 2 Bouffalant out and your colourless Pokemon takes 60 less damage from attacks. That's absurd. And bearing in mind, most of the colourless decks are playing Area 0 Underdepths anyway, so you've definitely got the bench space. And yeah, but Bouffalant's nuts. Bouffalant's the easy number 1. Right, so there we go. I don't know how I feel about this set of pre-release promos. I think the Bouffalant is great and a lot of people want it 'cause it's going to be a staple. I think none of these are bad, but we've got one really good one in Bouffalant, no ridiculous ones, and then 3 pretty interesting ones. Like, there's nothing here along the line of, say, Baxcalibur, which was an absolute just staple in one of the top decks in the format, which was obviously, you know, a ridiculous pre-release promo. There's nothing here along those lines, for instance. But then by the same token, I don't think any of these are terrible. I personally like the set of pre-release promos here, but I can imagine some people being less thrilled than I. For what it's worth, I don't really mind any of these, honestly. I think they're all pretty cool. So yeah, I look forward to pulling Ledian, because the one I put as number 4 is always the one I get. That's just the way it happens. For now, I want to know how you're ranking these. I want to know which ones you like. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section. Get us! me nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shout outs on the channel that the lovely Tamberlin, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross and you've been watching PTCG Radio.